The Clippers won their sixth straight. They beat Houston 134-117 in their final regular season home game at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Ivica Zubac had his first career triple-double with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. James Harden dropped 35. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
School, you and me, G. Back in the days, we played practical jokes, so everybody smoked with they lokes and they yokes, so all through high school, girls by the dozens, saying we cousins, knowing that we wasn't, but like the old saying goes, time goes on and everybody grows. Grew apart, had to part, went our own ways. You chose the dope game, my microphone pays. In many ways, we were paid in the old days, so far away from the crazies with AKs. And though I've been around clowning with the underground, I'm still down with my homies from the hometown. And if you need anything at all, I drop it off for y'all if my homies call.
KBLA Talk 1580. Man, there's a lot going on around here. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in, if you got a thing to say, something on your mind or something that you heard has inspired you, got you fired up. I hope so. That's what we're here for. And, you know, I listening to Mama Boo, she said her keep going is looking for that young her that needs her now. The young her that needed her now. To me, it reminded me one of the things that we're going to need to get through the next 4 years or 2 years or 6 months or however long these jokers are in charge is help someone else. As long as you're helping somebody else, you're not only relevant, but you're too worried to, like, you know, walk yourself off the ledge. You're too worried about their well-being. Okay, so I have been, and this is, I'm not trying to flip-flop here. I really believe that what gets us up, what gets us motivated, what keeps us brave, what makes me courageous, doing for somebody else. If it's about my kid, you know what I mean? And most of us have somebody or something in our life that's that important to us that we're going to level it up. We're going to level it up. What? Walk through fire? No problem. If I'm doing it for me or if I'm doing it because I'm scared, maybe not. If I'm doing it for my kid or I'm doing it for a cause, oh, hell yeah. So I think that's a great line to follow. Then I say I don't want to be seeming like I'm flipping and flopping, because I do want to keep us aware of things that are going on. And one of the things I have been tracking is the way that the surveillance is moving, right? At borders, at protests, at airports, at universities. How can ICE come and arrest someone as or accuse someone or try to expel someone from the country based on they're attending a protest because they're surveilling a protest? How is that people are not getting let back into the country or are getting detained at borders because of protests, because they're surveilling protests, or because of something on their phones? Right? So I just want us to be mindful. I don't know if you I don't know if you realize, I'm laughing because somebody just sent me something crazy, but I don't know if you realize that now when you move around, a lot of your information moves around with you, with us. And so whether you're crossing borders or going to protests, what happens when you're in custody and someone takes your phone? They have a right, depends on the agency. Do they have a right to look in there? Are you going to stop them even if they don't have a right? And I'm not trying to go into paranoia world, but I do think that if you're an activist or just an outspoken person, a person like me who tends to go to protests, talk on the radio or at a rally, organize people through some community-based affiliation or activism, we need to start being a tiny bit or a lot more mindful. And I've been looking at this this publication called Wired. It's a I guess newspaper, magazine, whatever. I look at it online, wired.com, that does a lot of deep diving on tech stuff. And two things, I'll tell you, one thing that I learned from there that was scary but also important, and one thing that gave me a lot of hope and made me feel a little bit safer in some ways. We'll start with the scary thing, right? Now we know, aside from actually confiscating your phone if you're in custody or when you're crossing a border where ICE has more extraordinary powers than police agencies, that law enforcement can request your data from Apple, from Google, from Meta, and then the company gets to decide whether they hand it over. That includes location data, and if you think about it, that means just about everything in your life. What did you search for? Where did you go? Where did your phone go? What did you pay for a thing? Where did you drive in your computer-connected car? And that actually means that these companies they have control over your constitutional rights, whether or not your privacy would be protected. And now that big tech is hardcore licking the boots of this current administration, it means that we have to look at it differently. Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, and Uber all gave $1 million each to the President of the United States for his inauguration, which is a slush fund. There is no accounting for what happens to the inauguration fund. He can spend it on whatever he wants. He can spend it on golf. He can spend it on, another golden potty. He can spend it on whatever he wants. They ended up $1 million each, and that's just what was for the inauguration. There were a lot of other backroom deals that included tens of millions that took place. So why are we talking about that? Is because when big tech is now in a big bed with Big Trump, and they're the gatekeepers to your data, everything about you, where you went, what you searched, what pictures you have on your phone, what protests you went to, and when those pieces of information are now being weaponized against activists, against migrants, against students, against protesters, then Wired made a really good point, which is that we may now become what they're calling digital expatriates. What does that mean? It means moving your digital fingerprint, thumbprint, booty print, all the prints out of this country. Huh? What did you say, Miles?
To China. Give China that data.
Give China the data. Well, there's other alternatives. Yeah, I mean, that's what people were doing. What was it? TikTok alternative, Red something?
Right, yeah, Red Sea, I think.
Something. Well, yeah. Give China your data. But there's other alternatives. And Wired makes the point, if you drive a Tesla, they're collecting even more data than your other computer car. So, there are alternatives. There are other countries that do offer digital cloud storage, email services, something similar to a Google Docs. There are clouds that are not connected to Apple, Google, Meta, and it may be time to start taking a look at some of those. The FBI, you remember last year, the FBI told us we needed to stop texting each other and use encrypted messaging machines. This is the FBI who's surveilling you, telling you to be more careful. That's crazy. They want you to use Signal or WhatsApp. But you notice they don't want the Defense Department to use Signal, so that means Signal is only so secure, right? The FBI said move on over to... they're trying to protect us supposedly from China. They're not trying to protect us from them. So the White House now, according to what I'm reading, told Wired magazine that the White House looks forward to working with industry leaders to unlock the golden age of digital literacy. But that's in response to a question about whether or not they respect encryption and whether or not they would consider it a breach of your privacy to snoop into your encrypted messages and pictures and data. So this is something that we need to start thinking about. It's not as simple as, okay, well, I'm getting off of Instagram or I'm going to quit TikTok or whatever. Most of us aren't going to do that. It's not even smart business-wise for most of us to do that. Are you going to quit TikTok and Instagram and Facebook? I don't even know if you're on Facebook, Miles, but are you going to, just, they're gathering my data?
I'm not. So, and that leads to the question, like when you were just saying there's different countries people can go to. I'm like, who do you really trust as another country to host your data just because, they're not the U.S. at this point? I think it's a good time to start keeping your own data as much as you can. But, at what point do you trust other countries over your own country when you're all in the same
There's
game?
levels to it, right?
Yeah.
There's levels to it. There's a service called Proton. They're a Swiss company. And they do like a Google Docs. They do cloud storage. They do email. And the law in Swiss law protects their users from certain government data requests, for example, right? Now, you could move over there and then they could be sold to Meta next week. We don't know for sure, but there's levels of, do you want to just say, oh, well, I'm naked in the middle of, Fifth Avenue or La Brea, whatever, Market Street. So let them see everything? Or do we say, okay, I'm going to get a VPN. I'm going to switch to another server. I'm going to still keep whatever I decide to keep public on, on an Instagram or a Facebook or a TikTok. But my private things or things that I don't necessarily want to turn over to the government or things that they may use to jail, deport, or criminalize me, I'm going to move them somewhere else. I mean, it's for activists especially. I think it's time to at least start having the conversation with ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think that also is
it's a good time we start building these types of things for ourselves as well. We got all the tools to have our own, data storage, housing, and whatnot. There's a lot of money in circulation right now. This is a good time to come together like Voltron and, really do some damage and kick some what.
Yeah, and they have some great suggestions, like if you don't want to see the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America, then don't use Google Maps. There's something called Magic Earth, which is just like Google Maps, except for that they have the names of the places that everyone else in the whole world uses besides the U.S. under this delusional administration. I'm just saying there are alternatives. There's something called Nextcloud where you can store your stuff in the cloud, and now it's no longer accessible to Google or Meta or whoever's cloud service you are using. These are just examples. I just want us to start thinking about it, if not making moves. 800-920-1580. Look, I'm not having a paranoid meltdown. I'm trying to be, be prepared. Think forward. Not be a victim. I don't want to be a victim. I want to be a victor in all things, always. 800-920-1580 if you got something to say about this or whatever's on your mind. I'm Dominique DiPrima. We're unapologetically outspoken, unapologetically prepared, and unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden-Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominique DiPrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden-Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall. Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300. 888-300.
After producing an award-winning climate justice campaign in 2024, KBLA Talk 1580 has gone all in on its 2025 Climate Justice plus Black Health Initiative. April is Minority Health Month, and Urban Family Focus in partnership with Providence Health Systems presents The Heart of the Matter. Providence doctors and health equity officers will participate in informative and life-changing conversations on hypertension, health equity, behavioral health, and community engagement. Don't miss these empowering conversations on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 and Sunday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sponsored by Providence, Southern California's largest and most comprehensive health care network. We've got a lot to talk about on KBLA Talk 1580. Download the KBLA 1580 app or log in to KBLA1580.com. I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. On KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
This is Stevie Wonder, calling on Los Angeles property owners to help get unhoused veterans off the street. If you're a property owner or know someone who is, consider accepting veteran housing vouchers. You will receive guaranteed rent while providing a stable and safe home. Help end veteran homelessness and make a real difference in people's lives.
Learn more by emailing houseurbets@lacity.org.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader. If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on autopsy, then click on request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
All right, so I started talking about our digital footprint, our digital security, I guess you could call it, and our data. Not just things like passwords, but all the pictures you have in the cloud, everything you have on your phone numbers, your contacts, your location data, right? And again, I've spoken on this before, but even the Ring phone, the Ring doorbells, which are everywhere now, security device, great. You can operate your doorbell from afar and everything. But Amazon does share that information with police, and it has become the biggest informal surveillance system in U.S. history, because Amazon controls that data that's coming directly from a camera on your front door. And so free of charge, you are offering law enforcement agencies security cameras in your block, on your neighborhood. We saw that during the protests, the big protests of 2020, where the LAPD was actually using people's Ring footage to try to find things that protesters were doing when they were not protesting, say walking down the street, you jaywalked, or, anything that they could go after them for, in a sense of having charges against them, right? Fishing expeditions. So, there are alternatives to the Ring phone. I don't know what they are, but we know that data is, if big tech are vampires, data is blood. Okay? If big tech are vampires, data is blood. They need it. They got to have it. They can't live without it. And so that means we got to start thinking about guarding it, particularly when that data can be used to harm and oppress us. Now we're seeing the Trump administration, what the New York Times says, the Trump administration is trying to connect the dots of data, because different government agencies have different information bits about you. This one has your social security. That one has, your dog's serial number. That one has your child's personal files. They're trying to consolidate them all into one place so that they can have a data trove about Americans. And what could possibly go wrong? 800-920-1580. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more conversation. KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Governor Greg Abbott scheduled a special election for November 4th to fill the late Sylvester Turner's House seat. Democrats accused Abbott of delaying to aid the GOP's slim majority. The North Carolina Senate passed a bill to ban DEI programs at state colleges, voting 28-18 along party lines. Senate Bill 585 aims to prohibit concepts deemed discriminatory and divisive and requires new policies against DEI benchmarks. Music fans who can't make it out to the California desert this weekend will still be able to enjoy Coachella from the comfort of home. The music festival will once again live stream performances on YouTube starting Friday. And Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott announced the AFRAM 2025 lineup featuring Patti LaBelle, Vito, A-Marie, Saweetie, Tidra Moses, and Juvenile. The Juneteenth celebration and festival will be held on June 21st and 22nd at Druid Hill Park. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Imagine a photograph of your favorite place in California. Then right in the middle of it, one piece of litter. Litter has no place in our lives, not one piece. Together, let's change that. Clean California. Zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
In so many ways Wednesday night, Luka Doncic told the Dallas Mavericks organization they never should have traded him. In his first game in Dallas since the Lakers traded for him on February 2nd, Doncic had a spectacular return. 45 points, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Doncic got standing ovations from Mavericks fans before and after the game. The Lakers pulled away for a 112-97 win. The win secured a top 6 finish for the Lakers in the Western Conference, which means they will avoid the play-in round. The Lakers have 2 games remaining in the regular season, Friday at home against Houston and Sunday at Portland. The Clippers won their 6th straight. They beat Houston 134-117 in their final regular season home game at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Ivica Zubac had his first career triple-double with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. James Harden dropped 35. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, so I said I was going to share good news and bad news. I'm not even halfway through, or security news with the downside, or maybe reasons why we might want to move off U.S. services, whether it's the cloud, whether it's email, whether it's social media streaming, all of these, or curate your U.S. presence mindfully and move most of your stuff elsewhere. My sister was laughing at me. Yeah, how are you going to curate? You've been on the mic for decades talking smack about these conservatives. There's no way to curate. But there may be for you. B. Bell pointed out Siri and Alexa. Absolutely. Alexa's collecting data, and they just leveled it up to where you can't even turn off her data collection prowess. She is a spy, and as Jerry says, not just a spy, but a spy that you paid for. H. Dorvalis says, forget about email and use foot couriers. Send notes written with easy to erase chalk sticks or water-based markers on sheets of plastic. You know what's the most secure way to send a message? U.S. mail. It's almost impossible to track it. How are they going to track your letter through all those? Anyway, nobody does that anymore, Dominique. But I'm talking about the habits we already have. Nobody's going to use carrier pigeons for their digital photo archives, but there are alternatives, is my point. So this is the thing that I found very hopeful, that I also learned about on Wired, which is that, you know how the internet has vast records of all kinds of historical events, news, and, history, right? So, and with the, with the move by the Trump administration to erase history and erase our knowledge of things and change the story about even recent history, you think about what that could mean in terms of our digital archives. Well, there is a movement afoot in other countries, right? And even in our own country, to archive the internet. This is something that digital advocacy groups in other countries are doing. They're logging the stuff in time machines. They're creating digital archives offline with original websites, articles, and that's a vast undertaking. Imagine all of the information on the internet. But if you have these tech bros, what they call the broligarchy, that are actively erasing stuff, as we saw with, we're taking Harriet Tubman off the Park Service website. Now we're putting her back on because the public is complaining. Same with Jackie Robinson, and we've seen it over and over again with Department of Defense, and what we may be looking at happening to museums and other institutions. The fact that these tech activists, these groups like Anonymous and Internet Archive organizations are racing right now to preserve this history digitally so that the broligarchy can't go in and just change it and say, no, that never happened. And that may sound totally paranoid, but if you're on X, aka Twitter, you see Elon Musk doing it in real time. He says things happened that never happened, and he says things didn't happen that did happen. He just says whatever he wants. It's his platform. He owns it. Who gonna check me, boo? Well, apparently the internet is going to check you. So this is really good news when you think about the fact it's not just the United States. The United States is only one country. We don't control everything, even though we are a superpower. But the fact that the collective memory of the World Wide Web is something that activists feel an urgent need to preserve before this administration says they were the victims of enslavement. I mean, that's where we're going, right? First, slavery was a job program, a job training program for black people. And we see the science archives being pulled down off of government agencies' websites, the Center for Disease Control, and all of these government-funded websites that store important information that we need, they're being preserved by people in other countries, and even some folks here. And so that it will not be erased. Jerry says mail is tracked and trackable digital sorters. Yeah, okay. It's a lot harder to track than an email or a text or a signal. Ask Mr. Hegseth. We're going to go to Fred calling us from L.A. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. Thanks for taking my call. Let me talk about what I heard on your show this week. Now, yesterday you had on, I wrote a name down, Attorney Melissa Camacho. She said that men's central jail should be emptied out and demolished. Well, I can do that for her. But what she didn't say was, where are we going to put that illegal immigrant that is charged with murder of that 13-year-old boy, the soccer coach?
Actually, she did say that. I guess you weren't really listening carefully. Her suggestion was that we remove people that could receive mental health care elsewhere from the other 6 jails that we have in the LA system and put that killer there instead of in Men's Central. The point that Attorney Camacho was making, by the way, is not just her point. It's something that the Board of Supervisors has committed to do. The LA County voters asked to be done, and so it's not just her opinion. This is a project of the County of Los Angeles to close and demolish this antiquated, dangerous, and subpar jail facility.
But what happens if you run out of jail space?
We won't. We have a lot of jail space.
All right. I didn't really call about that.
Yes, you did.
No, I called about the United States Supreme Court and Judge Boasberg. He got slapped down. One thing that you guys on the left didn't understand when you brought these charges against Trump, you got the Stormy Daniels case, the E. Jean Carroll case, Letitia James, and Alan Bragg was.
Okay.
He was a
Hold on. I'm going to let you make your point, or at least some of them. But the E. Jean Carroll case was not brought by the quote-unquote left. That was a civil suit of her suing someone who sexually assaulted her and who was found guilty and owes her a whole bunch of money. So, next.
I got all of that. But
no, you don't. You just said something that was the opposite of that. It was very Trumpian the way you tried to slide that in there.
The way he did, what he did learn was with his attorneys, private attorneys, you can't fight government attorneys. Now he has government attorneys. He's the one in control. You see, when he got the case to the United States Supreme Court with James Boasberg. James Boasberg, that's the federal judge in one of the immigration cases. He doesn't have the power to dictate foreign policy. I guess he learned that.
No, what we learned is that the U.S. Supreme Court, the U.S. Extreme Court, is in Donald Trump's back pocket. But that's not surprising. Do judges have the right to enforce the law, even if it impacts foreign policy? Yes, in fact, they do.
But they can't dictate foreign policy. That's what he was trying to do.
No, he was trying to. The judge was trying to prevent people from being deported to foreign prisons, which is not constitutional.
Well, yes, it is. They just have to have due process.
And by the way, they didn't rule on the merits. They rule on they rule on a technicality, which is how they give Trump latitude to run wild all the time. That's not anything new.
Yeah, one more technicality. There will be no more judge shopping. That the United States Supreme Court sent that down. Now, while I got you, I'm going to ask you a question. You've asked me this question, or you made it to me.
I didn't. Did I say I wanted to answer questions from you, Fred?
No.
Okay.
You said it's my show, meaning this is your show. I know it's your show. That's why I called you. Why do you ask me that?
Why do you listen?
Because it's your show.
But I'm saying, why do you listen to the show?
Because it's a very entertaining show. I listened to you during the Democratic debate. I turned over to all the other channels and came right back to you. You even said, I'm going to quote two things. You said, there's my brother over there. And then later on you said, actually, he's my little brother.
That's correct.
I listened to you for entertainment purposes.
And of course, you're talking about Ras Baraka, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, who's currently running for governor of New Jersey. RasBaraka.com. If you want to make a donation, he's polling really well. He might win. Anyway, what was your question, Fred?
Well, the question was, why do you ask me that? I know it's your show.
Why do I ask you what?
You say to me, Fred, it's my show. Meaning I'm calling you...
I only say that when you start talking over me and trying to boss me around on my own show, mansplaining and things like that. You're not doing it today.
I never do it, but I thank you so much for your time, okay?
I thank you for for listening to us. We appreciate the support. Going to Jerry from Beverly Hills. Hi, Jerry. Jerry, you there?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I do.
Oh, yeah. I what kind of country is El Salvador? I saw they have, in their prison, they have 40 inmates in one cell. I don't understand why they allow that.
Well, El Salvador is currently a dictatorship.
Really?
Yeah. El Salvador is a beautiful country in Central America. I've actually been there. But like any country, it is subject to different phases of leadership, different eras of governance. And at the moment, they have President Nayib Bukele. He is he's been president since 2019. He is he's an authoritarian, but he's one of these folks that Trump greatly admires and loves, and that this president turned over $6 million to hold people that are deported from this country. The president has recently said that he will consider deporting U.S. citizens there or holding them there, which is highly unconstitutional, but they're saying they're looking into how it could be legal. And they're talking about black people. I mean, who else would they be sending to El Salvador? That's going to be a highly inhumane prison where they torture people, where people regularly do not receive food, where they're crowded into cells, where they do not have human rights.
I saw 40 inmates to one cell. I saw on TV.
Yeah, well, and see what they're showing us on TV is the least of it, Jerry. This is all bad, but it's par for the course of what they're trying to do. Now, whether or not this is going to work or is another question. I think as we saw with the tariffs on yesterday, the guy talks a lot of stuff, and we'll see what actually happens. Now, with the tariffs, some of that economic damage is not going to just automatically bounce back. We saw it bounce back with the stock market, and now today it's not looking so great again as reality sets in. If I lost $1 trillion in wealth, I don't automatically get it back just because Trump's put a 90-day pause on most of the tariffs, except those going to China. But for me, it was a good cautionary tale in terms of you can't freak out and believe everything this guy says. Is he really... Are the courts, is the justice system really going to let him send American citizens to a Bukele jail, even though he's hosting the Salvadoran president, Nayib Bukele, in Washington, D.C., which is insanely insane, to be redundant in the way I put it. You're talking about an authoritarian leader, and now you're legitimizing him on the world stage by inviting him to the White House. And he will be there on the 17th of April for what they are calling an official working visit.
I'm learning a little bit more from you.
Yeah. Well, apparently hundreds of suspected gang members, some of who are, there's almost no evidence. They have been deported to El Salvador under the Alien and Enemies Act of 1798, which the Supreme Court is allowing them to continue to do at this time. I always appreciate you, Jerry. Jerry called 800-920-1580. I welcome you to do the same. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I feel so alone. I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like being inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified professionals pathologist on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on autopsy, then click on request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
And by love, we mean you, 800-920-1580. That is an invitation from me to you if you have something to say. We'll be talking with Wilford Pickney Jr. next hour, the man who's now in charge of trying to close Men's Central Jail in L.A., and I think it is of national significance as we see a move away from reform, reimagining, and care first and towards a, hyper suppressive model that we've seen in the past. Let's go to Tony calling us from L.A. Good morning, Tony.
The BBC just ratted out Trump's plan. They said it was an extortion scheme that started in November where Trump wanted the top 10 countries in the world to buy American 100-year bonds. America doesn't have 100-year bonds, but he wants to create 100-year bonds because he wants to refinance the debt like way far out. And if they didn't do it, he was going to put tariffs on them and reduce the military protection. And now the top 10 countries have called his bluff. Not only have been not buying bonds, they've been selling them and using them to buy gold, and that's why gold's going up so high. And that's why he had to do the 90-day thing. But there was a fake news on Monday 90-day thing, and the stock market went way up, and then they said, no, that's fake. Then it went way back down, and then yesterday they did it again. And now Adam Schiff and Maxine Waters are investigating the Trump administration for insider trading. So you need to call Schiff and Waters, have them come on and see what's going on, because they say that all those guys in Trump administration, they're going to get fired, and then they're going to go get a job on Wall Street because they've been tipping off their buddies on Wall Street to everything that's going on, so the Wall Street big companies can make a ton of money, and now they're just going to go resign and go to Wall Street and get a big job. That's what the guy on CNBC said, that a lot of those guys are trying to go back to where they used to be before they went into Trump administration. They want to go back to a hedge fund and investment bank and all that stuff, and they've been tipping off their friends for the past 2 weeks about everything that's been going on. And now Adam Schiff and Maxine Waters are on it.
Yeah, Maxine Waters, of course, used to be the chair of the Finance Committee. Now she's a ranking Democrat. And, of course, Adam Schiff was an impeachment manager. But I don't, it's making my head explode because this guy puts this stuff out there, and in many cases that damage is done. He can change his mind and say, there's 90 days, there's no 90 days. But the thing about it is once the damage is done, it just doesn't automatically undo itself.
The thing on Monday was a test. They did a fake news on Monday to say we're going to have a 90-day pause, and the stock market went way up, and then someone called the White House and said, no, that's fake news, don't believe it. Then it went way back down again, and then they said, whoa, so all we got to do is say 90-day pause, it'll go way back up. So then they tipped off all their buddies. Said, we're going to do a 90-day pause, so get ready to buy.
Well, the 90-day pause is now on, but to your point, Tony, people are selling off bonds. They don't want to keep their investment in the U.S. government, right? And the thing about it is that once confidence is shaken, it's not like they're, okay, we got a 90-day pause. The guy is showing himself to be even more erratic than he was the first time, and I just don't think that you can put the genie back in the bottle like that. I'm not claiming to be an economist or some kind of expert, but I know that when people lose confidence in products, markets, people, governments, you don't just snap your fingers and that confidence comes back. And what he's done in the past 2 weeks it's putting long-term damage on our country and the world financially. It just is. I don't know about, what you're saying about it being a Ponzi scam, but it seems that most everything that he does and many of the things that Musk do are more focused on how they can profit and how the very wealthy can profit than the overall economic stability or soundness of the United States of America.
See, and put Trump 100-year bond plan, it'll come up because it was on the TV, the BBC World News. They had it all up there. Mm-hmm. BBC World News, Trump 100-year bond.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is this man is swerving. It's a 90-day pause today. It can be back on tomorrow, unless you're China, right? And he's already done this, once or twice before, where he's like, oh, we're putting these tariffs. He did it to Canada and Mexico. Okay, now we're pausing them. This is me negotiating. It's just not that simple. The damage, for the most part, is done. China, I just learned, holds $760 billion in U.S. treasuries. And now they are facing a tariff rate of 125%. Look at the possibilities for destabilization that exist in that equation right there. And while, they're saying it's unlikely that they would sell off, but you don't know what they will do. The fact that these continue to tank, it's not, there's no easy answer. I do not think that this is a well thought out plan as the way Republicans are pitching it on these cable shows, that this is, some master plan, the way that Trump is portraying himself as having these other countries kissing his butt and everybody wants a deal. No, people are running for the exits and they're taking their resources with them. People are boycotting American goods in Canada, in Europe. People are abandoning us as allies, and El Salvador is invited to the White House. That's not just that hurts my feelings because I'm on the left. That's what does this mean for the way for the balance of power, for the global alliances and how they play out, for our security, for our economy, for our businesses, large and small. These are what we call self-inflicted wounds. And the person doing the wounding is the guy in the White House and his cronies. Tony, appreciate the call. We are going to be talking LA Men's Central Jail. If you're from around here, this is a hot topic. If you're not, I'm sure there are things that will apply to the justice system where you live. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Governor Greg Abbott scheduled a special election for November against DEI benchmarks. Music fans who can't make it out to the California desert this weekend will still be able to enjoy